So Forest Gate is an area in East London that I grew up in. If you read about it on the internet or anything, you'll find out that it's an inner city area, very drab, very depressing. It's full of working class people of different generations. There's lots of different cultures clashing. It's almost like a bottle of fizzing soda. So it's you always feel like you're walking around and people are ready to pop. A lot of the newer immigrants are granted asylum into the UK because of the countries that they're from, like places like Somalia, where there's been a war going on for 13 years. Very often they're lumped into areas like Forest Gate. And when they come, what they find is that inside these areas that are already very hostile, they walk around, and when violence erupts, and it often does, you find that the type of violence that you're used to, or that someone like me is used to, is you know, you might roll around in the mud for a while and you might throw punches, but these people who are from very different environments, they're prepared to kill. And just before I wrote the book, there was it was just before the summer of 2006, there was like 30 deaths during that summer, and there were all these newspaper headlines, and they were explaining what they thought was going on. And because I lived in the area and I'm from Forest Gate and I've been there all my life, I realised that they were all wrong. All of the headlines that I read, I felt like this isn't making any sense, this isn't true, and I wanted to be a part of that debate. I felt that I could identify with what was going on. I felt like everywhere I looked there was failure, and there was this, it was a very palpable sense of failure. I felt like, here I am, I went to school, I studied, and I felt like I followed the right path, and still I was in the same place as lots of these people, and we all felt like, well, I felt like our backs were against the wall, and what do you do? And there was one day when I went out for a drink with one of my friends, and I hadn't seen him for a while, and I'd asked him about his younger brother, and he said that he had died. I said, how? And he said he had committed suicide, he jumped off a tower block. And I stupidly said, what did he do that for? And he got a bit upset, and on the way home I started thinking about this young guy who I knew, he was in his 20s. I pictured him up on this tower block. It was a tower block that we used to hang around when we were kids. And I thought about him up there, and I thought about him jumping, and I started thinking about his thoughts, and I started to jot his thoughts down, or what I thought his thoughts would be. And funnily, I realised that I knew exactly how he felt. I started writing, and I couldn't stop, and that's what made up the first part of my novel, Forest Gate. I can get my message across in a way in this novel, and it's going to be truthful at the very least. I'm going to be able to say, you know, I wrote it from my soul. I can stand by it, and I can say, this is my truth, and that, I think, is important.